Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Global Reality Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of the Global Reality right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. This is a Moonbat edition of the broadcast. Yes, it is. It is a Moonbat indeed. We are here late night with you, early morning, however you want to look at it, and we're glad you all could be with us here. I saw Super Dave in the chat room was saying he might have trouble staying awake. So, Super Dave, this one's for you. All right, so yeah, wake the fuck up. Anyway, glad you could be with us here tonight, and we're going to be getting into lots of different topics of discussion, lots of stuff to talk about, and glad you could be with us. This has been a strange week for us because we have been here in Snowpocalypse 2011 in Dallas. This has been a crazy fucking week here. Weather conditions and winter conditions, I'm sure you guys have all heard about it on the news, even where you live. Just the weather conditions like we've never seen here. Gotta love this global warming. I'm telling you, it's insanity, especially since, as Al Gore and the others say, you get all this cooling and all this ice in order to get to the warming, right? But really, they said earlier that it's colder here now than it is in Alaska right now, which is unbelievable. And we've had teens and single digits here. School and work, most places and businesses have been closed for the past 3 days. I've never in my life ever seen anything be. The entire city of Dallas almost has been shut down this week. It's been crazy. I've never seen it. It really does feel. And I tell you what, man, people here are starting to get cabin fever. I mean, I'm a homebody anyway, so but it doesn't really bother me because I'm usually, I'm always at home anyway. I mean, we're working on stuff and working on movies, and everything I do is from the house, and I'm cool with that. But man, I tell you, it's starting to get to a lot of people here. You can start to see that it's starting to affect people. People are used to their routines, and I think it's actually a good thing, But I seem to be the only one that thinks that. Probably that's because I work from home as it is. But most people, man, I tell you, they're freaking out. They're not used to having to find something to do with their time. You know what I mean? Most people don't have creative outlets anymore. They sacrificed that long ago for the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday slave gig. So they can, for this illusion of normalcy that everybody likes to surround themselves with, this blanket of normalcy that everybody thinks they have to fall right into, lock, stock, and barrel with the rest of the world. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can live your life however you want to live it. Don't let them tell you how you're supposed to live it. But people are just, they're freaking out, and then they're getting cabin fever. I mean, people are talking about how they're just restless and they're pent up, and it does kind of feel like a lockdown here. A lot of the information that we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, these different drills they've done in Dallas. I mean, I was talking about this in the chat rooms with some folks this week. It does kind of seem like this is the perfect cover. If they were planning something in Dallas or the Super Bowl, this Eisenstein would be a perfect cover because no one, everything's been shut down. Kind of like they had the power downs. Remember in the buildings in the Twin Towers. these, just a big time rare event for them to do. And they had these power downs in both buildings prior to 9/11. And, I mean, those kind of things, I know that can be sometimes seen as, oh, well, Josh, you're just paranoid or whatever. But, paranoid or not, I think it's important to look at the cases and examples of things that we have and weigh that against things that we see currently, especially if it comes to, to things like, do I need to, find some quick cash and get out of town for the weekend? You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm kind of at that point, wondering this because it seems that they're surrounding this stuff on only residential areas. There's a video I saw on YouTube recently. A guy had pointed out, and he was showing the weather stuff, and he seemed very informed about weather and clouds and all this stuff. And he had shown that they seem to be directing this ice and snow and focusing on residential areas. And earlier, we've been having rolling blackouts all in Dallas, in the Dallas area, all week. Another scam being run by the power company so they can jack up the rates higher. And we've had weird internet things going on. Not so much, I got a message from the stream company yesterday, which is rare because our old stream company didn't used to tell us shit. It'd go out all the time. But we have been having some outages with the stream this week. That's another reason we haven't been live. And that's another reason why there hasn't been anything on the network sometimes, because I don't think it's on my end, because our network and our internet's been running fine all week here at the house. But it seems to be, I think wherever the server is located at, or between here and where the server's at, there seems to be some issues. But they were saying we're going to get more snow, or we hadn't actually had any snow. We've actually just had ice and rain is all we had, and it froze, and we had the single digit and double digit temperatures, and it just, the stuff stuck around, and it's made all the roads impassable. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dallas, but everything here in Dallas revolves around the highways. And we have huge, gigantic overpasses and bridges and toll roads. I mean, everything here, it didn't used to be that way, but now the way Dallas is and the way it's grown, it's turned it into this. But it kind of felt like a lockdown this week. It kind of felt like that. But earlier tonight, right before I was going to start the show earlier tonight, I was going to start about an hour ago, and everything was rip roaring and ready to go. And I was about 5 minutes away from starting the show. And I was in the chat room telling the guys in the chat room about how, they said we were going to get, actual snow tomorrow. And I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and right when I went out there, I just snowed. It was silver looking. It was falling out silver. It didn't look real. I've never seen snowfall like that in Texas, in Dallas, where I live. I've grown up and raised in Dallas and lived here my whole life, born and raised here. And, last year I saw snow 3 different times in 1 week last year. I hadn't even seen it snow 3 times my whole life. I'm 34 years old, but I have seen it. Snow 3 times in 1 week last year. And then this snow today it just didn't look real to me. So it's been a very interesting week here. It looks to pan out that way as well. It's Super Bowl weekend here in Dallas. Just so happens to coincide with, being Super Bowl weekend, that we get ridiculous, insane weather that we have never had here in Texas, never had here in Dallas, the same week that the Super Bowl happens. I just don't think this is a coincidence. You can sit there and tell me it is, but I just fail to think that it is. But I also want to say thanks to Lee Rogers for having me on his show again Monday night. He has me on once a month and has been doing that for a while, and it's great, man. I always have a lot of fun over there. It's always a big show, and always elicits a big response, that's for sure. And I've sort of been reflecting on that show and some things that happened during the show and afterwards, a lot of which I can't talk about right now. The reason is because, number one, it's pretty big and involves some pretty big stuff. And not only that, I think Lee is saving this information to be put in his film. But I'll tell you, those of you who listened to that show with Lee the other night, there was some weird stuff going on where we were getting these comments and these questions about white supremacist stuff. And lo and behold, come to find out, Lee was made quite aware during that show where this stuff was coming from, because the person who was sending it admitted it to Lee in a PM. And boy, I'll tell you what. It saddens me to have to say this, but there is there's another particular person out there who is seriously, I'm not even going to say damaged credibility. I mean, they have no credibility in my book. Not now, not after what I've seen. It's sad. They're a pretty well-known talk show host, Patriot radio talk show host. And boy, oh boy, some of the things this person admitted to really proved to me what this person, because this person is somebody who, has kind of dodged the CMP issue as well and sort of walked around it and not wanted to talk about it and, had some of these people on the show. And it saddens me because this is a person that I've always, 100%, even when I knew I shouldn't have, I gave this person the benefit of the doubt. And boy, oh boy, I should have went with my first gut instinct on that because, man, and you'll all find out about it in the not too distant future. In the next couple of months, you'll be finding out about this. And, it's going to shake some stuff up. That's for damn sure. This stuff that we've, other stuff we've uncovered on Jones and stuff. I mean, this just is crazy, man. I mean, this stuff is, I mean, I feel like I have to, give you the Jones take on this stuff sometimes, hey, folks, this stuff's real. I mean, this stuff is real, man. I mean, and the reality of it is there has been a secret underground plan perpetrated by minions and pimps and scumbags, brainwashed individuals to this being perpetrated by, to create this phony illusion of the truth movement and the patriot movement, to help ensure that the stuff that was written about in the book, The Turner Diaries, you know what I'm talking about? The Turner Diaries. Yeah. Well, these guys are trying to make sure that actually happens. And what was written about in that book actually comes to fruition. I was aware of this, but really not to the degree that I am now with some of this new information I've been made privy to. Well, it's not even new information. It's somebody just straight up admitting, admitting that they're into some ideologies that are completely 100% backed by them, the bad guys. It's I'm just kind of speechless, man, because it's wild. It really is. And so I've been kind of processing that this week. And, like I said, these guys are hell bent on bringing in, they're posing as they're posing as these truth tellers and these revolutionaries and all this other stuff. But really what they want secretly and ideally, and this is mirrored in the fact that you had in 1991 or 1990 in Estes Park, Colorado, this is reported by Rolling Stone magazine, for God's sakes. You had Larry Pratt and Howard Phillips in Estes Park, Colorado at a white supremacist meeting. And at that meeting, funny, a white supremacist meeting, and fucking Howard Phillips is a goddamn Jew. That's how dumb these fucking people are. At that meeting, they handed out a pamphlet that Howard Phillips and Larry Pratt had put together. And in this pamphlet was the blueprint for what is now the modern day militia movement in the United States. And at that same time, Larry Pratt is the founder of the chairman of Gun Owners of America, the Patriot Approved Gun Group. Ron Paul, backs them up and all that stuff. And Larry Pratt's a Council for National Policy member, or was at some point. He could say he's not now, but at some point he was. And he's a real piece of work, too. I got to confront that asshole. I made him shit himself. I'm not even lying. I made him shit himself. That old man had to shit him. I'm not kidding. He had to go white. He saw me coming. He saw my name. He thought he was about to get pwned. And I was very polite to him, and I walked away, and I didn't own him. But my God, he looked at me like I was gonna. He thought I was coming for him. I'm not kidding you, man. He had that white as he looked down, saw my, because they made us all wear name tags at this event thing that I went to, and boy, he looked down, saw my name tag, and that old man turned white as a ghost. I can't. These people get real scared when you start asking about the CMP, and the reason is because I've learned this now. The secret to all of this, folks, is that this is a very hate-based plan, hate-based agenda coming from people who believe in white nationalist, white supremacist ideologies. And like I said, it makes sense. You have there, like I said, you have Larry Pratt there. I mean, in his book, Armed People Victorious, he says, we need Contra-style militias in the style of the Contras in the United States. You have people like Willis Carto, American Free Press, his connections. Look into that. I mean, they've been doing this by proxy and by stealth. And when you look at the connections to Nazism, to the Vatican, to the Jesuits, when you see those connections, then you see the connections of people like, Dr. Stan Monteith, another Council for National Policy member. My God. Radio Liberty, that's the name of his show. Where do you think that comes from? It was a Sovereign Military Order of Malta Nazi radio front that they used that was called that. And Monteith, CMP member, just happens to use that as the name of his show. And it's on and on and on. We have tons of connections to this. There's tons of CMP members that are KKK members, white nationalists, all the rest of this stuff. And I tell you, it's unbelievable because, like I said, I knew this was an element, but until recently, I didn't realize, and now I do realize that more and more, this is why these people are so scared when you bring up the CMP. It's just, I mean, for lack of a better term, the CMP is a big goddamn Klan meeting. Okay? That's pretty much what it is. It's a big fucking Klan meeting. That makes sense as to why all the bloodline people are there, why they're so secret, and what they really talk about. Yeah, they may not be in there setting policy like Phyllis Schlafly said, but nobody ever said these people set official government policy. No one's ever made that claim. What they do is they set the policy for what the right wing as a whole will take as its core beliefs and its core issues on and values on certain issues and particular items. That's what it is. That's what they do. But seriously, yeah, it's unbelievable, but that's the truth, man. And I'm just, it's, believe me, there's, when a lot of this info comes out, it's gonna cause a shitstorm. There's just no way around it. And it's very difficult because what do you want? Because if you want the truth, and we all claim that we do, then we have to go ahead and start preparing ourselves for the reality that truth might present to us in the near future. Because it's going to present things. It's going to present things to us that we're not going to like, and we're going to try and argue against and try to, hem-haw around about and, this and break down into minutia about. But the reality of it is that, I can't tell you. It just makes so much sense is all I can say. Everything makes much more sense to me now that I have this piece of information. I know it makes more sense. It makes total sense to me why this person has always said the things to me about the CMP that they have. It makes sense to me why this person has tried to downplay it. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. But anyway, so that's what else is going on. And what else is going on is working on the film, Secret Right Volume 2, still working on that. And we're getting close, baby. That's all I can say. We're getting close. We're doing good. And I want to give a special thanks to everybody who has supported us in the month of January. It's a very long month, and it seemed like it took us more resources to get by. I mean, there's like 5 weeks in January, right? Is that why? January just seemed like it lasted forever. It seemed like it was a 6-month long month, a 6-week long month. It was just an insane month. And I want to thank everybody who helped us get through the month of January, all our donators and supporters out there. Thank you so much to everybody, all you guys, man. I can't thank all you enough. A couple of you guys, you know who you are. You guys have been keeping us afloat, man. And I thank you so much for it. It's helped us because, this week with all this weird ice and storms and internet outages and stream outages and all this stuff, oftentimes it's very difficult to make it through those times when you don't have live shows. Sometimes it's happened and I've just been completely, just hand to mouth because of, lack of getting any support in. So I want to thank everybody who's, help us. We got all the bills paid for the month. We're good to go on that. We don't even have anything to pay until the end of the month now. I mean, not end of the month, middle of the month, on the 15th, I think. Something like that, I think, is when we have the middle of the month bills. But so we're good for a couple of weeks, but we're also getting so close to having the rest of what we need to finish the Secret Right Volume 2. I mean, we're like $400 or $500, I think, out now completely to having it done. I was able to pick up, I had been talking about a specific piece of gear that I needed to get to finish the soundtrack. And the original piece of gear that I wanted to get was about $1,300. And I was able to pick, it was a Moog synthesizer, because it's the sound I'm looking for this film, because I've done digital sampling stuff and I've done digital emulation stuff on the past couple of films. I was ready to start having some real tones and sound. And lo and behold, I put an ad out on Craigslist saying I was looking for some specific items, and a guy messaged me back and he said he had this Roland Jupiter 4 synthesizer, which 10 minutes before that, I just gotten a price quote from a dealer about this same synthesizer. And he told me that he had one that he could sell me for $2,999, meaning $2,999, $3,000. And I just put this ad out and said, hey, does anybody have one? This guy said, yeah, I've got one I bought in the 80s. I paid $450 for it. And it's just sitting here. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah. I mean, it's one of the rare. It's a Roland Jupiter 4. And it's completely analog. It was made in 1978, and he let me have it for $600. So I got what we needed to finish the soundtrack was $1,200. I'd been saving up and saving money and donations and stuff to get that, and lo and behold, this just fell in our lap, and it's already. I'm really just learning how to use it tonight, but it's already gotten us so much closer. I think I need like one more small thing. I think it's $400 or $500. It's just like another interface thing that goes with the audio stuff, and we're ready to go. I'm telling you, if you stick by your guns, man, it always happens the way you need it to happen. And I'm just grateful to everybody out there, and grateful to all the listeners and all you supporters for helping us. We're getting so damn close now, and it's all because you guys helped us push forward on this. And we're closer than I've been yet, and it feels great. But I still got a lot of work to do, man. I got a ton more work to do, because I'm fucking having to go back and refining this shit over and over and over again, and getting more stuff in there. But it's cool. Needless to say, I want to make sure that when it's done and it's out, that I'm 100% happy with it. And to me, that's the most important thing, because I know that if I'm 100% happy with it, then you will be too. So, yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a great piece. It's a great instrument. But nonetheless, you didn't tune in to hear me talk about that tonight. But we'll get into all kinds of different information here tonight on the show. GlobalRealityShow@gmail.com is my email address. and always drop me a line. Been getting lots of great email lately. I'm blown away. Our listenership's just been going through the roof lately. I've been getting more comments and just everything. It just seems like there's a lot. And I'll tell you, that's also drawing out it's also drawing out, and this happens every time, man. Every time I get ready to come out with a film, it happened right before I came out with Volume 1 of Secret Right in 2009. It's like they know how close I'm getting when I'm working on this stuff. I swear, it's like they have a two-way mirror where they can see my editor or something. It's like every time I get progress and I start getting close to finishing a film, the COINTEL and the hate mongering and the and just the shilling and whatever else you want to call it, just rampant fucking haterism is what I would call it. Rampant haterism. It just comes in. And the thing about it is, I struggle to go find anything that anybody ever says about me that's based in anything that has to do with the information. It's always these lame ass, half-assed personal attacks, none of which ever stick, and none of which are based in any fact anyway. It's amazing the idiocy that goes around out there. I am not a fucking federal agent. I am not a CIA asset. I do not work for the federal government. In fact, I'm one of the few people that actually in this world that really puts their money where their mouth is. I mean, people talk about living off the grid and all this stuff. Well, do you? You own a cell phone, probably, don't you? Probably have a driver's license. You probably have a car. You probably pay insurance. You probably work at a slave job. You probably do. I don't do any of those things. None of them. You see? That's who I am. I actually do the things that I say and I believe in. It's not always easy, but you know what? If you want to get what you want out of life, it's not always going to be easy. And I'm just amazed that nobody ever tries to dispute my information and bring contrary information to anything that I put out to the table, but they do always want to attempt to try and defame me and sling mud at me. And it's amazing because it just shows me that, and somebody not too long ago, I don't know who it was, one of our listeners, whoever you are out there, sent me an email that said, hey, I know I don't have to tell you this, but it's always, you always catch the most flack when you're over the target. And that was it. And that was all this person said in, yeah, here it is. Mr. Reeves, I'm sure you're aware of the old saying about knowing you're getting close to the target when you start taking a lot of flack. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, sir. Scott in San Antonio. Thank you for that comment. He sent me this, and it stuck with me because, yeah, I mean, I started noticing that, that you start to see that kind of stuff happen. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get nuts. It's gonna get ugly. Oh, it's gonna get ugly. I can guarantee you that. Ooh, son. Next couple of months, it is going to get ugly. Ugly. Man, oh man, the accusations and the name calling and the vitriol is going to be flying everywhere. But more than that, people's careers and credibility are going to be flushed down the toilet. But you know what? There's been a lot of people for a long time who have had a lot of opportunities to hop off this CMP train that's going around and hop off the Patriot bandwagon. And most of these people waited a little bit too long. Thought they had plenty of time to jump out, thought they could milk it for a little while longer. But, it's sad that they didn't, because, there's going to be some people out there that are not going to be happy with the things that are going to transpire in the next few months. That's for sure. Not only that, but we also have conclusive video evidence that Alex Jones was inside of a Council for National Policy meeting. We don't have video of him inside of one, but we have video evidence that proves that conclusively that all this stuff about, you know, in the past year or two where he said, oh, I've never heard of the CMP, I never heard of it, is an absolute lie. We have that as well. That'll be in my film. It's crazy, man. I mean, all this stuff, these guys expose themselves. None of this stuff is coming as a result of anything that me or Lee Rogers are exposing. These are coming as things that are as a direct result of things that people have done, and we're simply pointing them out. That's what is so insane about the vitriol and the hate that is directed at us for the things that we talk about concerning the CMP and the Patriot Movement. Hey, all we're doing are pointing out things that people do. If somebody, you know, says something that, you know, implicates them to a known operative, and they admit that by their own volition, and then you bring it out to you know, the masses, and then everybody focuses in on you and calls you names. Wait a minute, motherfuckers. I'm not the one that admitted I was associated with this person or that person over here that's connected to, you know, the big agenda. This person did. So, so preemptively, I know that stuff is going to happen over the next few months. People are going to start trying to say, oh, well, that person or that person is jealous because they said this about so-and-so. And like I said, it's not like we're uncovering anything. And the stuff that I have about Jones, I mean, hell, that stuff came from, I don't want to give too much away, but that stuff came from one of his own productions. Let's just say that. Oh man, too much. It's fucking too much. Oh man, I can't believe. Look, you know what? Should I let it out? No, I'm not gonna let it out. Oh man, I should though. Oh hell, fuck it. What the fuck? All right, here it is. You ready for this? I got a bombshell for you. I'm not going to give you Lee's. That's Lee's. He can say that for his film. I'll give you mine. How about that? How about that's a nice. How about that? That's sort of a nice break even on it, right? Because we got two big pieces of info, right, that we're saving for my film and Lee's film. But you know what? You guys have been so patient. You've waited so long, and and Lee's going to have his piece. It's going to be for his movie, and so you'll still have that, and it's huge. But let me go ahead and give you mine. Here it is. You ready? All right. Dig this. Dig this shit. Y'all are going to fucking laugh your ass off. All right. God, I feel so much better. I've been waiting to tell you guys this for a week now. All right. So last week, right, I'm going through looking for clips for Secret Right Volume 2. I'm going through Jones' movie Endgame. And Jones' movie, Alex Jones' movie Endgame has it's just chock full of CMP related people. He's got Dr. Michael Kaufman, who was the president of the Council for National Policy in the 1990s. He's got him in there in the movie. He's got another lady who is from the National Eagle Forum, which is Phyllis Schlafly's group, the Eagle Forum. He has a woman from her. She's red hair, big red lips. You'll see her. They're in there talking about the North American Union. Well, I went and looked her up, and yeah, she's one of, it says it right there on the screen, Eagle Forum. And so, you know, that was like, goddamn, there's another connection. There's that. And then he's got, of course, Tucker. Jim Tucker's all up in that with the Bilderberg stuff. And we've talked extensively here recently about Tucker's connection to American Free Press and Willis Carto and that whole end of it with all that. And I noticed that he had, and I'd seen Endgame when it came out, you know, so I was just kind of going back through and looking at seeing if I missed anything. And I noticed that Alex Jones had come out with something called Endgame 1.5. Which was like, you know, his additional footage that didn't make it in Volume 1. And there's a clip. You can look it up on YouTube. I think if you type LOST with dots, LOST, acronym, Law of the Sea Treaty, Alex Jones, or Endgame 1.5, Law of the Sea Treaty, Lost, into YouTube. In about a minute 42, minute 37 into that, you see a very interesting piece of footage. This piece of footage completely wipes out the lie that Alex Jones had never heard about the Council for National Policy until the past year, when people started calling to his show. In that movie, he has footage shot from his cameras I know this because I matched it against the other footage shot in his film. And I remember when that movie came out, he talked about how all the footage was his own footage. There was no footage from news archives or anything in there. All of that footage was exclusively Alex Jones footage and his material. And the credits reflect that. When you go through the credits, all the film is associated with his production company. And so everything is the Alex Jones original film in that movie, Endgame. That was the first movie he'd done like that. He has footage of Phyllis Schlafly standing behind the podium at a Council for National Policy meeting. And that's not even the kicker. Right next to her, I see Kathy Adams, who's the head of the Eagle Forum in Texas. She was next to her at the Freedom 21 conference I went to in 2008 where Schlafly was there. So I know that this meeting was in Texas. So let me ask you this. Riddle me this, Batman. How did Mr. Jones manage to get his cameras inside a Council for National Policy meeting? I'll tell you, you see the podium bigger than shit. It's all over the screen. How did he manage to get his cameras inside of a group that has secret meetings that he claims he's never heard of? And number two, now let's just say for a moment now that Alex Jones tries to wiggle out his credibility. This kills his credibility either way. Listen to me. It kills his credibility either way. Because let's just say for a minute, he goes, well, that was cut in and edited by somebody else. Well, I don't know who put that in the movie. Well, he claims that he edits and does everything on his movies. So how can Mr. Jones have never heard of the Council for National Policy until recently if he has a clip of Phyllis Schlafly in a movie he made where it says Council for National Policy bigger than shit on cameras that he shot? You are a liar, Mr. Jones, and you have been caught red-handed, motherfucker. That's it. That's my big piece. Now, there's going to be a lot of other info you haven't heard about and seen about and other connections in the Sea Road 1-2. I promise you that. But that was a big one, and there's two big ones, and I said, fuck it. Let's give it away. There's one. That's it. That's conclusive. Because it proves that he's a liar, and it proves that somehow, some way, him and his cameras have made it inside of a Council for National Policy meeting. And you know what I think? I think this is why he's been so scared about this. Because I think that he knew this was there, and he was just waiting for us to find it. And since we haven't ever found it and never talked about it, he's kind of taken a pass. But this is conclusive, folks. Alex Jones has had his cameras inside of a Council for National Policy meeting in a group that never allows any press inside. WorldNet Daily is the only press they ever allow inside. Now, maybe he got a pass from Corsi or something. Maybe Corsi got him in. Because Corsi's proud of being a member and stuff. Yeah, Tiss, I have thought about that. Yeah, I might do that, actually. Yeah, I probably will. But I want to put it out there and put it on the table right here, right now. Other people will probably take it and run with it and claim they came out with it first, like they always do with all of my info. But how you gonna hide from that, motherfucker? How you gonna run from that? How you gonna spin that? Because either way, his credibility is damaged beyond reproach. Because if he tries to say, oh, I didn't know that was in there. Well, oh, you didn't know that was in there? Well, I guess those lies about how you edit your films and make all your films and do all your film yourself is like, how do we know what other information has been put in your films that you didn't put in there? Who is putting this information in there? So, man, oh man, it's just unbelievable. This is gonna, man, knock out 1-2 punch. And anyway, I looked and took that piece of footage, and I went over with a fine-tooth comb, and I tried to find some way to, I was giving Jones the benefit of the doubt, like hardcore on it too, man. I was saying, well, let's see, let me check the credits first. Let me make sure he didn't get this piece of footage from somewhere. No. And I remember him specifically saying many times on his show that Endgame was the first film he's ever made that was 100% all his original own material. None of it came from outside sources. It was all original Alex Jones material. All original Alex Jones material, then, including fucking video of Phyllis Schlafly in a Council for National Policy meeting in Texas, no less, because the head of the Texas Eagle Forum in Texas is Kathy Adams. And when Phyllis Schlafly's in Texas, Kathy Adams says she's the head of the Eagle Forum in Texas, is always by her side. And in that video, knowing who Kathy Adams is, because I saw her at the conference back in 2008, I saw her sitting right there next to Jones. And I said, right there next to Schlafly. I said, yep, that meeting was probably in Texas. And that's why Jones was able to get in and get his cameras in there. So, again, it smashes this whole lie. And we have the audio clips of him on his show, 2009, saying, or 2010, saying, I'd never heard of this group, folks, on CMP. Never heard of them before. People started asking me about the group. I never heard of them. I don't know. Well, it smashes that. That's a complete and utter lie. Jones has known about the group. He had a piece of footage in his film Endgame 1.5 shot at a meeting. That's coffin nails. That's bam. You add that to the mountain of other stuff that we've already got on this motherfucker. It's case closed, dude. Shut the door. Turn out the lights. The party's over. It's over. That's it. Anybody from now on that tries to deny anything about what Jones is, I think is just, you're just going to laugh at him, because it's in stone now. Unbelievable stuff. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna love. It's gonna be funny to watch this motherfucker try to wiggle out of this. What are you gonna say, Jones? What are you gonna say? Man, you are fucked 8 ways to Sunday, mister. What possible explanation could there be if you did not put that piece of footage in your film with intent, as you claim that you do, because you're in charge of every aspect of all your films, and you go over them with a fine-tooth comb? I've heard you say that. Then your appellation, your story, your mythology about how you never heard of the group is an absolute lie, and it comes crumbling down. And it also proves, my God, because people have accused of us saying, oh, you say Alex Jones is a member, and people say, Alex Jones, people say I'm a member. No, I've never said he's a member. I said there's a good chance he probably is when you look at his connections, but my God, now what are we supposed to think? Now, I'm not saying this conclusively says he is a member. I think that'd be taken a little far. No, it doesn't conclusively prove Alex Jones is a member, but it does prove what we already know, which is that he has high-level connections to the group, connections enough to get him inside of a meeting with his cameras to get Phyllis Schlafly giving a keynote speech. That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. And, I'm going to leave it at that with The Secret Volume 2 when it's done. There'll be a lot of other info that nails him to the floor even before we get to that in the film. But I'm going to leave it at that in the film, And everybody out there is going to decide for themselves on this stuff in the end. Nobody out there is going to come to what they believe. And this is where the haters and the COINTEL fail miserably, because they always try to bring back the stuff that involves information back to the individual, back to who it comes from, me or Lee or whoever. And we are the most unimportant link in this whole chain. All we are here to do is to present this evidence that nobody else seems to be presenting. And then it's up to you and everybody else out there to decide what you believe for. But see, that's what people always try to do. They always try to say that, well, they believe what Josh Reeves says, or if you believe what Josh Reeves, or if you believe what Lee Rogers says. No. It's not if you believe what we believe. It's if you believe what you believe based on your own conclusions, looking at the evidence. That's why it takes so long to make a film like this, because it's like building a court case. You ever notice how it takes, whenever they have a big murder trial or big something like that, it takes months and months, sometimes years before there's ever a goddamn trial. You know why that is? That's because it takes that amount of time to build up evidence, to build up your case, to make it bulletproof, to make sure you win the argument. And that's exactly why I put the time and the amount of energy that I do into making these films, because this is what this is to me. I want this to be bulletproof. I want to shut the door. I want to make sure there's no question anymore about these things when we bring them up. And we know who these people are, and we know what they're working for, and we know what the larger agenda is. And guess what? We can then move on Without that, as individuals, without a movement, without a leader, without figureheads, without big daddies, without patriots, without truthers, and continue on into the future as sovereign citizens of humanity who want to see all people of the human race living in harmony without strife, and it is possible. It is possible. The only thing that doesn't make it possible is the powers that be that see their divine right to rule, their right to rule because of their bloodlines, as the most important thing on this planet, and nothing else matters. They say the meek shall inherit the earth. We got to put our money where our mouth is. And that's what I want to see happen. I want to see us be able to wipe our hands clean of this patriot and truth stuff and these figureheads and these bastards that are living in fucking millionaire homes and, you know, eating free meals and hobnobbing with movie stars and rock stars. These people don't care about humanity. They can give a damn. They care about money and status and wealth and everything they can get in the material world, and that's it. And they are evil incarnate, I tell you. Well, it's and you know what? There's people waiting in the wings too. I don't think you can do something stupid like you know, eliminate one of us or martyr one of us, because it's not going to stop. You guys should have known that already. You know, everybody thought this CMP talk was going to end when I left Oracle. They did, really. Not even kidding you. People thought if there was a group of people that were on Oracle that aren't on there anymore. Most of them aren't on there anymore. Who thought that if they could get me off of Oracle, that the CMP talk by Lee and others would stop. And boy, they failed miserably, didn't they? Because when I left, that just made Lee step up his game and talking about the group even more to pick up the slack where I left off. You know why? Because that's the kind of dude Lee is. And I don't trust a lot of people in this world, I'll tell you that for sure. But I trust that motherfucker. I trust that motherfucker. I'll tell you straight up, that dude is the real deal. And I've met him in person, hung out with him, and he is real. Lee is right, and he's hard fucking core too, man. It's you know the most of the time these people that you meet in this, a lot of people I met in this I thought were the real deal and have turned out not to be, and it breaks the fuck out of my heart. Breaks the fuck out of my heart to know these people are not what I thought they were, man. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of love for a lot of these people that I've worked with in the Truth Movement, Patriot Movement. To have to find out that they're working for the other side, it doesn't make me sleep well at night. But what do? You go along to get along, be a pussy, and keep your mouth shut? Or do you step up to the plate, throw all the chips on the table, and say, you know what? This is what it is. And if you can't deal with it, that's your problem. And that's what people are going to have to start accepting. That's all there is to it. We are going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to get into some news for you tonight. We got ourselves a Moonbat show. Who's feeling Moonbatty tonight? Wake up out there, Moonbats. All right, back here with you on the Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. 5 Magics. Megadeth right there for you. Glad you could join us here tonight. And, yeah, you know, I've had to actually have been forced into a position where I had to play more metal on the network because we have a huge subsection of our listening audience that are metalheads. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. I'm not a big metalhead, actually. People think I am because I have long hair. I actually never have been a big metalhead, but I do like a lot of it, and I play certain things that I like here. So if I don't play metal you like, suck it, because sorry, I play what I like. That's all there is to it. But nonetheless, glad you could be back with us here tonight on the show. And we're going to be getting into some more news and information for you here on the broadcast tonight. We have the Chip and banner for the bills for the month at the network there. Again, thanks to everybody who has supported us. We're getting closer and closer, so I'm happy about that. And also use the donate button there as well if you want to make larger donations towards the films, towards everything to help us grow. And it's it's all happening. We're starting to get people to really start to question deeper aspects of info, and that's very good. Again, you can email me, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. That's globalrealityshow@gmail.com. But yeah, I see people are starting to drop that video clip in there. Of Schlafly. So what do you guys think about that? Let's go to the chat room right now. What do you guys think about that info? Jones being inside a CMP meeting, shooting footage of Phyllis Schlafly. Pretty interesting, considering, if we would have found this, think about this. If we would have found this info before he had on Phyllis Schlafly, and we'd already talked about it, it wouldn't have near the impact it does now. But think about it like this. He has Iserby on, Charlotte Iserby, and then a week later he has on Phyllis Schlafly. He refuses to ask Phyllis Schlafly any of the things about the CMP that Iserby had brought up. And then, boom, right at the same week he has Schlafly on, lo and behold, we come across this clip of Phyllis Schlafly inside a CMP meeting from Alex Jones cameras, shot there, and it just completely annihilates this lie and this myth that he had never heard of the group. That film came out in 2007. That footage was probably shot in 2006. It proves right there. And I'll tell you another thing. I noticed this. This is another piece of info, because I was looking at the cameras and stuff and looking at the different shots and pieces of video that he had in the in-game film, just to make sure, again, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And because it just seemed at first, I got to be honest with you, it just seemed too good to be true at first. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, no way. I was like, there's no way. I was like, he had to have gotten this clip from somewhere or something of that nature. And I just started thinking about it, and I started looking. I was like, oh man. And finding out that it's all his original footage. It's all stuff that he shot in that film. He even said that. He admitted that many times on his radio broadcast. You can go back and pull radio shows of his from 2007 when Endgame came out. And, he pulled a big time scam on that deal. He got everybody to buy Prison Planet subscriptions, right? When the film came out, so you could download it before the DVDs came out. And so everybody, tons of people, I bought one, tons of people bought them. There's no telling how many hundreds of thousands of dollars this guy made. I remember some of that leaked info came out talking about how he makes, $300,000 a month or something off his Prison Planet subscriptions alone. And my God, $300,000 a month just from Prison Planet subscriptions alone. $800,000. My God. I can get my film in fucking theaters for that kind of money. I can get my movie on fucking HBO for that kind of money. I can get my show on fucking satellite radio for that. My God, that's fucking unbelievable. But like I said, I'll tell you this. When I went to his premiere for Terror Storm in Dallas in 2006, he had his camera set up in the back that was filming his speech and Jim Marr's speech. And they were set up in the back of the room, in the back of the seats where the theaters were at. I had my showing at that film as well. And you could tell that the cameras were zoomed in. And I went back and looked at that footage from Dallas, and it looked identical to the zoomed in footage of Jim Marrs and Alex Jones in Dallas in 2006. The Schlafly footage looked identical to that. So using my video expertise and my knowledge of looking at frame rates and everything else, and looking at the grain of the film, the grain of the video, and the way it was shot, and the clarity of it, there's just no question to me that that clip came from the same cameras that Alex Jones shot the rest of his film on, and he has flat lied about his knowledge of the group. And I don't even think in admission that he's lied about the knowledge of this group at this point could help him or hurt him anymore. If you keep on digging, and it's been a struggle, man, because it was tough for the longest time. I'm just so glad there's so many of you out there now that know about this and know about the CMP and are aware of it now, because it's important info. And I got told for the longest time that I need to shut up and talk about something else because I just wouldn't leave it alone. And, now I'm ready to leave it alone because, the case is closed on the CMP and all this phony patriot stuff and the truthers and all this stuff, as far as I'm concerned, to be honest with you. I'm washing my hands of it after I'm done with this movie. I'll still expose stuff where I need to expose it at. If information comes up and I need to expose it or it pertains to Jones or whoever else, I'll do it. But I don't think it's going to matter anymore. He'll still be sticking around trying to milk it, but the credibility is just going to be shot beyond all reproach. And now it already is. My film doesn't even have to come out for his credibility to be shot. Now that piece of info is out there. That's the big silver bullet right there. That piece of info with the Schlafly clip. That's really done business. That's my whole thing about it. I've dedicated almost 4 years of my life to exposing this group and making films about it. And I've worked my butt off at this and put my blood, sweat, and tears into all of this stuff because something, I don't know, a calling from something higher than myself. I'm not religious but I'm a very, very spiritual person. But I can tell you this, I've experienced a lot of spiritual things in my life, but I've never experienced anything like the calling that happened to me when I first started finding out about this info. It's like it was laid in my lap for me to put out there. It's like it was waiting for me to come along and do it. And I found I used to have this old website back in 2006 before I'd ever come across the CMP stuff, before I had a radio show, because I was researching the Kennedy assassination, and I'd heard people in the, even as far back as 2006, I heard people in the local 9/11 group that I'd been in talking about the John Birch Society and talking about, hell, we need to start working with the John Birch Society, man. Those guys are good guys, and they believe 9/11 was an inside job, and we need to start working with those guys. And I was like, I immediately stepped up at this 9/11 group that I used to be in and said, hey, no, that's a bad idea. These guys are tied in with Rockefellers and tied in with Jesuits and all this other stuff. And I remember the guy who was in our 9/11 group was a John Birch Society member at that time. And he, of course, said that I was wrong and wanted more proof. And I had posted this whole thing. And lo and behold, in 2006, I had posted something from a website, because that's a lot of the stuff that a lot of the info and stuff that we've gotten on the CMP has come from stuff that's been aggregated from other websites or snipped from somebody else's material and put in something else. And so when I'm going through and making the films, basically what I do is I just take whatever information's pretty much already out there regarding the CMP, and then I just put it into my voiceovers and put it into my films with footage and clips and all that stuff. Because a lot of the stuff is out there, but it's not out there in a film form. That's why people who have known about the CMP and talked about it for, there was one lady that talked about me and talked about the film. I can't remember her name now. Somebody brought her up recently. There's been a couple of people. I know Tassarian posted both volume 1 and 1.5 of The Secret right on his website. Even David Icke, for God's sakes. David Icke's responsible for about 10,000 of my hits on that movie. David Icke even posted it on his website. It's funny to me that David Icke posted on his website, but Jones wouldn't. Imagine that. Who else? There were several other people that posted. Eric John Phelps, who, I'm not a fan of, but he has talked about the CMP, in the past and exposed a lot of good info on it and stuff like that. He posted it on his website as well. And, it's a testament to the fact that, like I said, a lot of this information has been out there for a lot of years, but nobody else has put it in a film or anything else up to this point, and I was the first to do that. There's just no question. So, nobody else made a film about the Counts for National Policy before I did. Number one, me. I made the first film on the Counts for National Policy, period, end of story. Fact. And have been responsible, along with Lee Rogers. This has been a co-op effort. All this stuff has. Lee's helped me extensively with things with the film, as far as helping me get some of the footage and differently helped me get another network computer. Lee's helped me out a lot because he knows like I do that there aren't there's just nobody you can trust, man. And you know, that when me and Lee met up in 2008 up in Oklahoma, at the end of that weekend we were leaving, man. I remember me and Lee fucking gave each other like the power hand, like fucking grip, man. And we were like, it's fucking on, dude. We're going to fucking do this, man. Me and you, we're going to fucking stick together through all this shit. And we're going to fucking do this. And Lee was like, yeah, man, we're going to fucking do this. And that's how it's been ever since, man. I really feel lucky to have a friend like that I can actually count on and rely on. And it takes this stuff as seriously and as passionately as I do, man. It's really cool. Let's get into some news for you here tonight on the show. Even though I could give a fuck about the news, I really don't want to even talk about the news, to be honest with you. Can we not talk about the news? Let's talk about something else. I don't want to talk about the news tonight. Is that cool? Are you going to be fucking mad? I really don't want to talk about the news. But, you know, I was talking earlier about the weather here in Dallas. Yeah, we've had these rolling blackouts and stuff, and they've happened at hospitals, and we've had rolling blackouts at hospitals, but yet the power in the football stadium where they're not even having a fucking game until Sunday has remained on. The fuck kind of shit is that, man? I mean, my God. I just don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about the news. But let's go to the chat room. Hey, chat room, Moonbatters, what's up? You guys got any topics for me tonight? You got anything you'd like to hear me talk about? Any specific things I can get into? We'll do news tomorrow. If there is a show tomorrow, there may be a show tomorrow. There may not be. I don't know yet. Tomorrow is a real weird day for me up in the air because we're supposed to have this gig, and it's fucking snow apocalypse 2011 here in Dallas, and so I don't know. We're going to find out. If we end up getting snowed in again and the gig gets canceled, then yeah, I got to do something. I'll definitely be live, but. We haven't really had a chance to practice that much this week because Delphi's been sick, so we hadn't really had an opportunity to do that. But it's pretty exciting. Hopefully, oh yeah, I saw some anons in there, fucking starting shit early. Can we not talk about anons and bullshit talk about anons? Let's talk about some like info or something. I don't give a fuck about these COINTEL assholes that come in and sling mud right when they know I'm getting close to coming out with this film. But man, I had to lay out that little piece of info earlier though. Yeah, you know what? That's it. That. Yeah, there you go, DJ. Yeah, exactly. You summed it up, buddy. Yeah, Nick, I saw you talking about that the other day. I actually got that from the horse's mouth because I'd heard that too, and unfortunately, I don't have the show anymore that I did with Mr. Eustace Mullins. Nick asked, is there, Josh, the info that Nelson Rockefeller funded the John Birch Society comes from Eustace Mullins and allegedly he gained that from a friend. No, that's not actually how it went down. Here's exactly how it went down for word, and Michael Vale can back me up on this because he rode shotgun with me on my show the day that I had Eustace Mullins on, because he had Eustace on before on him and Doug's show at the time. And I told him I wanted to get Eustace on. He told Eustace about me, and we had a conversation, and man, I found some of these older shows that I'd lost. I sure do. It breaks my heart that I don't have a copy of that Eustace Mullins show. God, I'd give anything for that. That was such a great show. Oh, it was awesome. And you know, look, Mullins has been connected to some of these CMP types too. He used to work for Willis Carto's outfit. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, he was 100% trustworthy either. But I will say this: I did love me some Eustace Mullins. I loved that man. He was an amazing person. He may have not been on the right side, who knows, but he was just a great guy to talk to. Well, I asked him about that on my show, Nick, and this is exactly word for word. You know me, my photographic memory. What he told me. And you're right. That's kind of how the story goes, but not exactly. He didn't necessarily fund the John Birch Society, and Mullins didn't get that. And the friend that he got it from was actually firsthand. He was really good friends with Robert Welch. And Robert Welch was the founder, Jesuit-trained founder of the John Birch Society. Now, Welch, before being the founder of the John Birch Society, was a candy maker. And the story goes that in exchange for his candy company, which he sold to Nelson Rockefeller, he took the money that he got from Nelson Rockefeller from selling his candy company and started the John Birch Society. And Eustace Mullins said that later on, when he was in the John Birch Society, and he'd found that out from John Welch, that he quit the group and no longer wanted to be a member when he found out about that. So, yeah, the whole thing about him about him funding it, well, yeah, he did fund it, I guess, if you want to say that. But what happened, according to Eustace Mullins from the horse's mouth, and I think he may have even said he was in the room. I want to say, I swear to God, I want to say that Mullins said on my show that he was in the room when the transaction took place between those two. Did he own Nabisco? Well, that I don't know. But Eustace Mullins said that it was a deal with Welch's Candy Company, and that he sold the candy company to Nelson Rockefeller, and the money that he got, he used to start the John Birch Society. That's all I know, dude. That's what he said to me on my show. I don't know how factual it is or how unfactual it is. But you look at the founders of the John Birch Society. You've got Federal Reserve heads in there. You've got CFR members in there, guys who were instrumental in starting the Federal Reserve Bank. I mean, you've got Jesuits. You've got all kinds of people in there. One of the guys was a CFR. One of them was we went through it here on the show a while back. But I mean, there's enough connections that we already have on the John Birch Society and its founding members to make the idea of that exchange happening with Nelson Rockefeller plausible. So, I mean, I think it's become the widely held belief that happened because there's enough evidence to support it happening. So there you go. Anyway, any more questions? Any more pertinent things I should talk about here tonight? I mean, what are you guys in the mood to talk about? What's been on your mind this week? I only done the one show with Lee this week and haven't been here, so I don't really have my finger on the pulse of what you guys are into and happening. I mean, do you guys think there's going to be something break out at the Super Bowl this weekend? I mean, I don't know. Oh man, I wish I had the money just to get out of town for the weekend. God, I had a few $100 just to get out and go hit the road and go stay in a cabin or something for the weekend out in the boonies. Ugh, man, fuck this place. I don't want to be around this goddamn place while the fucking Pooper Bowl is here. Jesus, they got Christina Aguilera and the Black Eyed Peas coming here. Barf. My God, if fucking Satan Sphincter's going to open up for the fucking halftime show. Ever heard of the Cardinal Newman Society, set up from Fordham University in '93? Yeah, I have come across that info, actually. That was, it was very similar to, to what the Council for National Policy does. And so what the Council for National Policy does is they have a 501c3 tax exemption. And what that allows them to do is it allows them to get big corporations like Coors and DuPont and others to donate large amounts of money to the Council for National Policy in exchange for a tax break because of their 501c3 tax exemption. As far as I know, the Cardinal Newman Society does connect to the same players of the CNP and the rest. I know that they work extensively with the Heritage Foundation. That's really all you really need to say right there. That the Cardinal Newman Society works with the Heritage Foundation is really, I think you got Brent Bozell III in there as well, who has been connected to the CNP. I mean, there's no question. They're definitely a part of that. of the priest class power structure that is at the highest levels of government in the United States. Absolutely. Oh, they reported today on Fox that they are expecting a dirty bomb attack very soon in the U.S., maybe at the Super Bowl. Well, it would make that thing that we heard about the missing VX and the lockdown happen all that more interesting. How are things going with the demigods? Well, they're going good. I mean, we're progressing right now, big time as a band. Everything, it's unbelievable. We've all just really grown on our instruments recently. We've got working on some new material right now. We've got a new song of Jamie's called Salute that we're playing, working on redoing some old stuff at Delphi's. We've got working on a few new songs of Jamie's. Well, the new stuff that we're doing, it's unbelievable. It's a new level for us. It doesn't sound like any of the others. Jamie's got this fucking one song, man, and she's got this like real heavy, like, cause she's playing like electric exclusively now, and she's really gotten into it. She's got this real heavy like Sabbath riff in the middle of it. It's like down, 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 down. And I get to do these real cool times. It sounds like Sabbath, and it just goes back into, so yeah. See, I mean, I don't know what people are going to do when they see Jamie up there playing this, sad little blonde girl playing Sabbath, like a Sabbath sounding riff. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, we've got some good songs, good new stuff. We're really just, I'm really just putting all my resources and stuff into this film right now. So as soon as we gather up another $400 or so, we're going to be able to go back to the studio and record some of the new material and re-record some of the stuff that's going to be on the album. And so hopefully as soon as we get it, it costs $400 for us to go into the studio for the day. And that's not bad. I mean, you're talking about 12 hours in a world-class studio, Grammy winning studio at that. And it's in the country, and you get to go out there and spend all day, and there's no pressure, and you don't have to worry about the clock ticking, and it's all analog, and that's great, man. Going to the studio. I love going to the studio because we've been twice, and it's like a vacation for me. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work. All I have to do is go in and play drums, and we've done 2 sessions there, and I won't record anywhere else. Now, I've been wanting to record at this studio for 10 years. It was a dream come true, just to record there for me. And yeah, man, it's just a super, super great studio. Great engineer. He's so efficient. He does everything fast. We get lunch breaks. We take beer out there, and it's a relaxing, beautiful experience to make music in. I'll tell you that. So I think we're going to go probably take another trip, 1 or 2 trips, I think, to the studio and get the rest of the stuff recorded. We submitted to South by Southwest 2011. We got turned down, but we have submitted to 2 other events that are going on the same weekend as South by Southwest in Austin. So we may get in one of those. One of them is like a thing just for bands that have chicks in them. So we may get in that. Either way, we're probably going to have a gig down in Austin around South by Southwest time. So we're just really planning on sometime in the spring, we want to do a road trip show. I think we're going to try to do Chicago in the spring. That's what we've talked about. We've got some friends that just moved here recently from Chicago, and they've got some connections up there, and some of our listeners got some connections up there. So I think in the spring, we're going to try to head to Chicago to get some gigs up there and come hang out with you guys in Chicago, because we got some listeners and some family up there. We got I know John Doe's up there. I know Nick's up there. So yeah, well, I know Mud Puppy doesn't live too far from there. Yeah, so we're probably going to be coming in the spring or sometime like that. But we're definitely coming to Chicago probably first. I think we've all sort of zeroed in on that as our first place we're going to go to, because we just need to play outside of Dallas. I think once we play outside of Dallas and we play out somewhere else other than here, people are really going to be on to us. But it's just very hard to get the kind of attention that you need where you're from, because people just say, oh, well, they're a local band. How good can they be? And then you go play somewhere else, and we've played some other places. So we're looking at getting some shows around. I think we're going to have a show in Houston in the next few months. I know we have some listeners and supporters down there in Houston, so be looking for a Houston gig. We're trying to get some shows up in Oklahoma City as well. If anybody has any connections in the Norman or Oklahoma City area for shows they can get for the Demigods, hey, You can go get our stuff, Reverb Nation, Bandcamp. You just type the Demigods Dallas. You should find that in any search engine. But yeah, it's it's going along good, and it's another facet of what we do of getting out information through music and reaching out to people. And I think that's get a show in Nashville. Hey, I tell you what, you want to know how to get the Demigods to Nashville? You get the Demigods a show at Third Man Records in Nashville, which is owned by Jack White, who my sister just loves. Guarantee you will be to Nashville. The weather is good in early to mid-June. Okay. Well, we'll shoot for early to mid-June then. All right. Yeah, but and that's the whole thing is if we ever could get another or if we ever get our own trailer, I think they're like $1,200 for a trailer or something like that. If we could ever get ourselves a trailer for the band, we could actually go a lot more places. But not only Mullins exposed the Rockefeller connection, who else did? It says, in August 1965 edition, Robert Welch and his brother Jimmy received a tremendous payoff from the House of Rockefeller 2 years ago for organizing the John Birch Society and sitting on the communist lid for the past 7 years. The total payoff was $10,800,000 less the value of the family candy company, which is reputed to be maybe $100,000 to $200,000. On October 1st, 1963, Rockefeller's National Biscuit Company announced the purchase of the James O. Welch Candy Company of Cambridge, Massachusetts. In Moody's Manual of Industrials and Standard & Poor's Business Index, NBC gave the alleged purchase price of 200,000 shares of National Biscuit common stock, according to the Wall Street Journal. For October 1st, 1963, NBC common stock was selling for $54 a share on the New York Stock Exchange. Today, it is selling for $58. Thus, the Welch brothers were given $10,800,000 just like that. So there you go. Good digging there, Nick. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we can close the books on that one. Absolutely. Pretty rocking. All right. Well, oh man, I think we're going to wrap it up there tonight. If you guys don't have anything else to talk about, I'm really out of stuff to talk about. Please support us. We hadn't had this is the only show we've had this week, and we have internet outages and all this other stuff, and so we need your support to live and survive. And please think about us. If you can make a donation, please do so. We're about $500 out for having the Secret Right Volume 2 done. If we get that money immediately, we can have this movie out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I'd be happy about that. I know you would be too. Not the usual closing song tonight, but I wanted to hear this song earlier, so I'm gonna leave you with this. And you guys have a great night. Enjoy it. Lost Children of Babylon.